Gawle School of Music and Life. I have a rising sophomore daughter who got to experience 1 year with Mr. Gawle. As many of you know, Gawle years are like dog years, so she already knows why we're all gathered here tonight. I've worked closely with Chip on the music education trip the past few years, and through hundreds of interactions, hundreds of laughs, and I'll be very fortunate to be able to call him a friend. Tonight I'll be introducing some honored guests, all of whom have been incredibly supportive of the music program and have been instrumental, pardon the pun, for Chip Gawle to be Chip Gawle. But first, I get to share a few Chip Gawle stories, get tonight's ball rolling. So let's get started. About 8 years ago, it was after the first day of high school for my oldest son, and he was recounting the good and the bad about his classes and about his teachers. When he got to band and his teacher, he stopped short. He paused. He finally said, "I think I have a new favorite teacher." That was really interesting to hear after just one day, and I knew I wanted to meet the teacher who could make such an indelible impression, win someone so over in just one day as Mr. Gawle. Fast forward a couple of months, the first concert of that year, and out walks this guy who reminded me of a drill sergeant. There's no other way of saying it. He marched on stage, picked up the microphone, tapped it a few times, and it didn't work. He glared back at the tech guys with this look, this face contorted with exasperation and suppressed anger. Like if you touch that face, it would explode in a million pieces. Yes. Many of you have seen that Gawle face before. The technical issues got solved, and after what seemed like an hour of tuning, yes, Mr. Gawle does seem to like his tuning, the band started playing. I don't remember what the song was, because it wasn't a Pops or scholarship concert, so the songs were explicitly chosen for Mr. Gawle's secret, nobody has ever heard this song before catalog. And 200 or so students were playing indescribably as one, and Mr. Gawle was working it. He was swaying back and forth, giving hand signals in all directions, pushing the crescendos. And I remember thinking to myself, quite vividly thinking, man, that guy sure does sweat a lot. Yes, he does. As you can say, what can I say? But with the sweat of Chip Gawle comes an overabundance of blood and tears. For my family and thousands of other Wilton families over the past 35 years, the tears are primarily tears of joy. And wonder at how one man can give so much, be so much to so many for so long. My son David once told me that Mr. Rhodes is the soul of the band program, and Mr. Gawle is the heart. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it sounded deep, so I figured I'd share it. Actually, it means a lot of different things. But what it basically boils down to in a nutshell is if you can somehow blend the talents, the passions of educators as dedicated as Mr. Rhodes and Mr. Gawle, get them to invest a combined 75 years in a music program in the lives of teenage kids, you're the recipe for something truly special, unique, meaningful, magical. For Mr. Gawle, 35 years, all with us. It's an awful long time for almost anything. It's even longer when your work weeks are 60, 70, 80, 90 hours long. That's a lot of commitment, and a lot of kids' lives to touch deeply. Assuming there's 60 to 70 new kids taking band each year, over 35 years, that's 2,000 kids. Yes, admittedly, about half of them were percussion, but we're going to count them as musicians for tonight. 2,000 kids, a little ton of kids, have passed through the hallowed halls of the Taj Mahal. And those 2,000 kids are tonight spread out all around the world. We received countless communications from so many who regrettably couldn't be here tonight. Many were heartbroken, they just couldn't get back. But when those kids do return to Wilton, when they stop by to see Mr. Gawle, what's kind of amazing is he'll greet them, each and every one of them by name. They come back to Wilton not to see their families, not for some obligatory walk down memory lane or greasy meal and worms. They come back to Wilton for a Chip Gawle hug, and it's worth the trip. It is. Okay, next we're going to hear again from the musical group, the Black Tie Affair, featuring Will Palmer on piano, Tristan Clark on bass, Tommy Crimmins on drum, Elliot Connors on trumpet, Tommy Crimmins, and Ben Seth on vocals if he's here. These guys are all incredibly talented, musically talented, and all but one are seniors. I'm convinced that their graduating was a factor in Mr. Gawle's decision to retire. I actually blame them for his departure. It's their fault. Either way, let's give it up for the Black Tie Affair.
And I'll be standing here with someone new. There will be other songs to sing, another fall, another spring, but there will never be another you. The other lips that I may kiss, but they won't please me like yours used to do. Yes, I've been dreaming a million dreams, but how can they come true if there will never ever be another you? Sing it.
Continuing with musical theme. Seems appropriate. Let's do a little bit of name dropping. The Who, Bob Marley, Diana Ross, Led Zeppelin, The Grateful Dead, Queen, Jimi Hendrix, Leonard Skinner, The Doors, Buddy Holly. What do these music legends have in common? As incredible as they all were, none of them ever won a Grammy. That's right. It's unexplainable. It's a travesty. The same organization that gave Grammys to Britney Spears and Justin Bieber has missed the boat a few times. The Grammy folks don't always get it right. They haven't in prior years. They didn't this year. I have no doubt that Philip Riggs, the North Carolina band director who stole Gawle's Grammy, is a deserving Music Educator of the Year. He's just not the most deserving. What's crystal clear to everyone here tonight, and the thousands of other Wilton High School musicians who had the great fortune of learning from Mr. Gawle, is the Music Educator of the Year of the past 35 years, sits in the front row right there in our house. This seems like a good segue to our first real speaker. While the Grammy folks may have fallen down this year, that doesn't mean that the town of Wilton, the Wilton school system, doesn't know how to pick up the ball. Joining us tonight is the current superintendent of the Wilton School District, Dr. Kevin Smith. Not yet. Dr. Smith joined the Wilton school system 2 years ago, culminating his 21 years as an educator. In addition to his 13 years leading schools and school districts, Dr. Smith fully knows his way around the classroom, having earned his teaching stripes at both the elementary and high school levels. Dr. Smith is a man personally responsible for all aspects of the schools we love, including our incredible music program. The educational buck literally stops on his desk for today and for the future. He's the person who picks up the phone when Governor Malloy's office calls to say they're withdrawing all state funding from the Wilton school system. Yes, remember that light breakfast kind of day. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the Superintendent of the School District, Dr. Kevin Smith.
Good evening. I'm not nearly as funny as Sam Gomez. A few minutes ago, I had the pleasure to meet the woman who literally created the man. So I want to ask Mrs. Gawle to please stand and be recognized. Chip's here at Wilton High School and in the Wilton Public Schools. Chip is a man of purpose, a strong voice for children, a leader among his peers, a mentor, and a friend. As I've come to know Chip a little bit, I've discovered what so many of you have also discovered, and that is, when Chip Gawle speaks, I listen. I've met a rare few who command such respect of so many. My first exposure to Chip's gravitational pull was at one of the first football games I attended back in the fall of 2014. When I saw the size of the marching band, I immediately thought, we're going to need a bigger football field. My first exposure to Chip's brilliance was at the homecoming game that same year, when I watched the football team jog off the field at halftime, and several of the football players immediately turned around and jogged back on the field, instruments in hand. What I came to learn was that Chip and his colleagues will move heaven and earth in order to enable students to fully participate in the life of the high school and adjust and flex schedules accordingly so that, to every degree possible, students are not forced to choose between activities they love. My first exposure to Chip's ambassadorship and diplomacy was when the question about changing the high school grading policy from In a conversation, Chip very powerfully described the culture, tradition, history, and pride of Wilton High School, and articulated artfully the many compelling reasons why changing would be bad policy. In the 2 very short years I've known him, Chip has revealed himself as teacher, as leader, as advocate, as peacemaker, as translator, and as mediator. And in each of the instances, I could not be more grateful to have Chip as a thought partner. His positive and long-lasting impact on our school and our community cannot be overstated. Though I feel I've only started to get to know him, I've witnessed firsthand the profound force of nature that is Chip Gawle. And in reflecting on his life's work, I think one of our students described his essence well. Dedicated beyond belief. We have all been the beneficiaries of Chip's unbelievable dedication. So given that, I find it incredibly fitting that we name Chip as the inaugural inductee into Wilton Public Schools' new Hall of Fame. I'd like to say just a bit more about the Hall of Fame. First, I want to acknowledge and thank Anna McDonald for her strong advocacy. Earlier this year, Anna came forward with a proposal to create a champion of the arts, and she wanted to use that platform to recognize and memorialize the extremely positive impact Chip has had. That idea was carried forward to one of our Board of Education committees, and that committee brought in the concept to a Hall of Fame. The board approved the Hall of Fame at a recent meeting, and we'll have a formal installation and ribbon cutting in the fall. We're going to get a plaque with Chip's face on it and stack it on the wall for future generations to see. So I'm grateful to Anna for presenting the concept and thrilled that Chip is our first inductee. In so many other ways, and now in this way too, he has set a very high standard. So Chip, while you didn't get the Grammy, we did get you into the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame will be one way to respectfully memorialize Chip's contributions to our district and community, and it also creates a venue to acknowledge many others who have also made substantial contributions. And knowing Chip the little bit that I do, I suspect he wouldn't want it any other way. As I've known him, Chip always seeks to shine the spotlight on others. So Chip, I want to say thank you again for your tremendous service and for so powerfully influencing so many lives. We are all better for having known you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Our next speaker needs no introduction. He's the current principal of Wilton High School. He's been leading Wilton High School first as associate principal, then as principal for the past dozen years. The exclamation point is almost 30 years as an educator. I've written a few jokes for his introduction. Good jokes. Appropriate? I'm not so sure. And I was reminded that my daughter still has 3 more years left at Wilton High School. tuition payments to the Hopkins School, I need to be respectful in my introduction. And I do appreciate you providing these reminders, Dr. O'Donnell. I do. Very much appreciate it. In all seriousness, in his time in Wilton, Dr. O'Donnell has been remarkably successful at doing something that few educators, few administrators, few of anyone have been able to do, be both extremely well-liked and extremely well-respected. With that, he has something uniquely in common with the man we're gathered here tonight to honor. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the best high school principal in all of Wilton, Dr. O'Donnell.
Thank you. Chip, I'm glad you're sitting right in front of me because I'm going to speak directly and personally to you tonight in my comments. Welcome to all of our special guests as we celebrate the educator, the leader, the human being who is Chip Gawle. Chip, you've been an iconic figure in the Wilton High School Performing Arts for 35 years, and you will remain so forever as a vital part of our high school community. It is certainly fitting that you are the pioneer inductee into the Wilton Public Schools Hall of Fame. We recognize that this is based on the extensive merits of your career and your recent success in the Grammy Music Educator competition. The criteria for the candidates were as follows: having made a measurable difference in the lives of students, having made a significant and lasting contribution to the field of music education, having shown a commitment to the broader cause of maintaining music education in our schools and our great schools of Wilton, and having made a significant impact in the school and community. Clearly, all of those in attendance here today recognize that our Chip Gawle not only met but exceeded all of these criteria. Chip, you are truly an exemplar of the best music educators in the country. During your tenure in Wilton, you have designed and conducted musical programs that have left us in awe and appreciation of the performances. You've challenged our and your student musicians to reach the pinnacle of their musical aspirations and skill level. We recognize that our student musicians have succeeded because they hold you in the highest regard and are inspired to meet and even exceed your highest expectations. The presence of all these alumni here this evening is a true testament to the influence that you've had on our students, their lives, and their very promising futures. Occasionally, in our cherished craft of education, we have the opportunity to work with rare educators who teach and motivate students by gaining their full trust and caring more about them than anything else in the world. You have been one of these figures as you combine your rare skill set, including integrity, charisma, perseverance, and the deepest level of compassion. During your tenure, you have been a champion, not only for our student musicians, but all Wilton High School students. Your music programs have been a beacon of inclusivity and a safe and welcoming harbor for students to develop their musical and perhaps more importantly, their life skills under your directorship. You, Chip, have successfully guided the most complex and at-risk students as well. The greater the challenge, the more that you have engaged collaboratively with support staff to find solutions and interventions that ensure the student's success. One of your colleagues noted recently that you skillfully straddle the different facets of being an educator. You hold students to the highest standard, yet you always remain in the student's camp, socially, emotionally, and personally. The unique perspective that I can provide this evening is that of a school-level administrator who has collaborated with Chip for 12 very important years. True collaboration. From my perspective, I recognize you as a natural leader who truly makes a great school even greater. On so many occasions, I have sought your counsel to help our school, your balanced counsel, regarding complex issues in our school community. You are capable of surgically analyzing these issues and making sound recommendations based on what is best for students, staff, and our flagship program. You balance laser-like institutional memory with the flexibility and adaptability required for innovative strategies. So often you've left my office noting that, pal, okay, as I leave, we're right on the same page, and we combine our skills to ensure optimal learning experiences for all of our Wilton Warrior students. So important. Those of us who work closely with you recognize that you have a mercurial side as well, which Sam talked about a little bit. I like to consider it unbridled passion. You possess a firm belief system and will take a stand on matters pertaining to our students, that which is occurring in town, teacher status, and important educational initiatives that impact all of us. A newer colleague, who I think is here right now, commented that she was intimidated by your stature when she first met you at first. She quickly realized, however, and felt the love and support that you have shown all of your colleagues during your entire 35-year tenure. She said that now she can hear your laugh all the way down the hallway and know that somehow, somewhere, you're inspiring students and staff to do better on behalf of our students. Personally, I found you to be reflective and a very good active listener who considers multiple perspectives and integrates them into your very own actions to help our school. Not far from here, the Taj Mahal stands right around the corner, right from where we sit right now. This facility is emblematic of the status that this phenomenal educator has in our school and in our school system. Chip, you have been a 24-hour teacher, a teacher whose day never ended with the final bell, whose work week never ended on Friday afternoon, whose commitment to the ideal of your profession did not end with the marking period or even the end of the school year. Remember that, since we're at the end of the school year, right? You remain the teacher who is available to your students at all times to teach, help, advise, and often, most importantly, just to talk. To the Gawle family, Chip's mom, Janet, wife, Patty, daughter, Sarah, son, Ben, thank you for selflessly sharing this lion of the jungle, this team player and captain who proclaimed that we are going to engage as many students as possible in building the best fine and performing arts program in the United States. He has fulfilled that promise as evidenced by our annual successes at the music adjudication trip and the numerous performances here in this very auditorium. High-quality programs. Chip, it's right around the corner. As you approach retirement, remember a few things. If people concentrated on the really important things in life during retirement, there will be a shortage of fishing poles. I know that you are looking forward to spending some time on the water, and I am looking forward to enjoying that time with you, pal. In closing, I speak with the voice of thousands of your students and families, your supportive colleagues who are here this evening, and our administration when I say thank you for caring so much and leaving this lasting legacy of excellence in the Wilton Public Schools Fine and Performing Arts Program, and specifically here at Wilton High School. We owe you a great debt of that gratitude. Chip, we recognize that you are this country's Grammy Foundation finalist, but you are clearly Wilton's Grammy Foundation winner. Peace and love right back at you. Thank you.
the first tune we played was There Will Never Be Another You, an obvious tribute to Mr. Gawle. We'd just like to say how much Mr. Gawle has influenced us as people and as musicians. Without Mr. Rhodes and Mr. Gawle, we wouldn't be a band today. This next chart is a tribute to Mr. Gawle's retirement and don't get around much anymore.
One, two, three, four. Mr. Saturday Dance, heard they crowded the floor. I couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club, barely got out the door. They'd have asked me about you. Don't get around much anymore. Well, darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. Oh, nevertheless, plaster of memory. Been invited on dates. Could've gone, but what for? It's awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. Well, baby, I guess my mind's more at ease. Oh, but nevertheless, master of memory. Been invited on dates. Couldn't go, but what for? It's awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore.
Thank you again, Black Tie Affair. The next speaker is Dr. Gary Richards. The deference meter has to go up a few notches since I don't know him very well. Dr. Richards retired 2.5 years ago as the superintendent of the Wilton School District, ending an illustrious career highlighted by 42 years in education. He was superintendent of the Wilton schools for about a decade, in which time he rarely ever missed the Wilton school concert. During that time, he was also known to occasionally crash band classes. Yes, he did. It's true. He can still be seen in audiences at most Wilton school concerts now, so he's had ample opportunity to bear witness to the wonder of Chip Gawle. In years of retirement, Dr. Richards was named Superintendent of the Year by the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents. Like our Music Educator of the Year finalist Picture Society go out when he was on top. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Gary Wilton.
Good evening. You know, Chip, when many of us retire, our hair is white or there's less of it. I'm looking over at you and someone said, his hair is really dark. I think that's clearly a message that it's too soon. Good evening. It's how wonderful it is to see so many of you here tonight to celebrate Chip Gawle's body of work and the impact that it's had on thousands of students, this great high school, and our community. Having known him for 20 years and having worked closely with him for 10 years, I can honestly say that he's one of the finest educators I've had the honor of serving with during my 42-year career. I can think of no more deserving individual to have earned the distinction of being chosen as the inaugural member of the Wilton High School Hall of Fame. How fitting it is that this plaque for the outstanding professional educator will hang in the Clune Center for the Arts, this beautiful place that, along with the Little Theater, Memorial Stadium, and the Taj Mahal, has been the setting for so many memorable moments over the past 3.5 decades. Since I was asked to speak tonight, I've thought a lot about the idea of halls of fame, the purposes they serve, and the attributes of those who are selected to be enshrined. I believe that there are similar qualities that are shared by truly outstanding professionals in many fields who have been inducted into halls of fame. When we think of Chip, we have all seen the elements of his greatness. Perhaps the first similarity is that all Hall of Famers engage in the kind of extensive preparation and hard work that is required to achieve excellence. The great classical pianist and composer Vladimir Horowitz once said, "The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is practice." Chip truly emphasizes and models the value of practice, both in his work with students and through his own efforts to expand and refine his considerable music talents. I think we all agree that this preparation shows in the quality of each and every student performance he has ever led in the past 3 decades. I love baseball, and I was a big Dodger fan. We lived in LA, but me and Chameleon, I became a Met fan. We came back here, and wherever we go, I'll be another fan. But Baseball Hall of Fame announcer Vin Scully, himself a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, once defined a true professional as follows: as one who has the humility to prepare and the confidence to deliver. That's Chip. In addition to the hard work, preparation, another common attribute of members of halls of fame is deep, abiding, and unselfish commitment, which you've heard many comments tonight about his commitment. In the case of educators, this commitment is to the students. One example of Chip's dedication was evidenced when he was selected to receive the University of Connecticut NEAG School of Education Alumni Award for Excellence in Teaching. It's a huge honor. And as it turned out, the award ceremony in Storrs, Connecticut, conflicted with the Wilton High School Spring Musical that year. And because Chip was leading the pit orchestra, he turned down the award. Although he could have easily have gotten someone to substitute for him in the pit for one night, he simply was not willing to shirk his responsibility to his students. The next year, as fate would have it, he was nominated again. And as fate would have it, the ceremony again conflicted with the Wilton High School Musical. Once more, Chip declined to lead Wilton to accept the honor. Now, he was nominated a third time. And I had several conversations, some of them were a little elevated in tone perhaps, trying to convince the university that perhaps they might modify their award ceremony. And as many of you know, universities sometimes are not prone to change. But we were persistent, and when he was nominated the third time, we convinced them to come down to Wilton to present the award to him in the school board meeting. And it was a beautiful evening, a very touching evening, made even more so by the fact that Chip's Chip's deep commitment has been in evidence throughout, as has been said, throughout his 35-year career. And he's given selflessly of his time and talents in so many ways. This was seen in his years of work outside, often outside the school day, in the evenings, weekends, with jazz ensembles, marching bands, school musicals, and directing various sectional performing groups. Wilton High School had never, another example of his commitment, Wilton High School had never had a musical alma mater. And in 2009, then Principal Tim Canty approached Chip and John Rhodes and asked them to compose one. Both these fine teachers involved AP music students and worked long and hard and came up with a beautiful alma mater, which will always bear Chip's and John's name. Legendary performers often make unknown sacrifices for their craft. They spend untold hours away from their loved ones, and very often they play in pain. In the span of his career, Chip spent approximately 3,800 nights and weekends, days and nights, preparing and rehearsing his students for performances in 1,300 concerts and 11 musicals. He also provided tech support for over 30 musicals. When you think about sacrifice, consider how much time he missed being with his wonderful family, his wife Patty, and his children Ben and Sarah. Another example of playing in pain is I can recall a time when Chip had undergone a surgical procedure which made conducting excruciatingly painful. Many of us here tonight, probably all of us, have seen Chip conduct and have marveled at his incredible passion and energy. I mean, watching this gentleman conduct it's an aerobic experience, and I always worried that he would need hydration on the stage after conducting for the evening. But Chip, as it would turn out, Chip had a major performance after the surgical procedure, which, as I said, made it excruciatingly painful for him to conduct. But he played in pain, and instead of the 8-foot wingspan and the very athletic directing, he did more something like this. But you know what? His students really rose to the challenge, and it was extraordinary. I think they knew that he was not able to give it his usual passion, and yet they stood tall and played a great concert despite his rather weak conducting. Hall of Famers also have a firm grasp on the big picture. Through his work as an instructional leader in the Fine and Performing Arts Department, Chip has helped ensure that the arts program in our school system are first rate. He has labored tirelessly with his colleagues to help us better understand the true value of arts education as an essential component of a quality educational experience. During his 35 years, Chip worked tirelessly to help shape the culture of Wilton High School and the Wilton Public Schools. He willingly assumed several key roles in the rigorous NEAS high school accreditation process over several different iterations, and he generously supported an array of improvement initiatives. Excuse me. He understood also the importance of giving back to the community. An example of this was evidenced in his active support for an initiative to honor our community's senior citizens. For several years, he helped recognize our seniors with special performances for them, along with VIP seating at concerts and school musicals, plays, and so on. Together with Dr. O'Donnell and his fine performing arts colleagues, students, and the PTSA, Chip helped celebrate those who helped build this community into what it is today. Another attribute is that first-rate professionals make people around them better. In the finest sense, Chip is truly a collaborative leader. He models cooperation and helps his colleagues see the importance of checking their egos at the door and focusing on collaborative efforts that are good for kids. Our fine and performing arts members, staff members, support each other and attend each other's concerts, shows, and exhibits. They work collaboratively to provide outstanding educational opportunities for our young people. As you know, Wilton is blessed to have a wonderfully rich arts community, and many of our community arts arts supporters are here this evening to show their deep appreciation and respect for Chip. We're honored, and I wasn't able to see them earlier, it was a little late, but we're honored, I believe, Chris and Trish. No? Are we here? As most of you know, for many decades, the Brubeck family has been at the center of the arts world, nationally, internationally, and fortunately for us, here in Wilton. I recently spoke with Chris about Chip, and here's what he said. I thought this was very powerful. Chip Gawle has been a musical force in Wilton for decades. He has inspired thousands of students to experience the wonderful, uplifting power of music. But underpinning those musical achievements live the wonderful lessons of teamwork and concentration. Working together, everyone doing their part to achieve an overall artistic goal. So many events in our town are enhanced by the participation of Wilton High music students, from football games to the Memorial Day Parade. He has also collaborated with many people in the community, Chris included, to ensure that the arts were not just a school issue, but a tremendous asset that is part of the heart of the entire town of Wilton. I experienced this generous collaborative spirit when Chip was deeply involved in presenting the Waterworks concert. This production involved 5 choirs, ranging from Cider Mill all the way up to the Wilton Singers, and an orchestra made of Wilton teachers, some advanced students, and professionals. It was a huge project which couldn't have happened without Chip's support. Over the years, I have seen and heard Chip lead the way as a teacher and motivate his students to strive for and oftentimes achieve musical excellence. For example, this year's production of Beauty and the Beast was astonishingly wonderful. It was as if all the best singers and actors in the state of Connecticut were assembled in an all-state production. But these were talented students, encouraged and fostered in the Wilton school system. Chip had been waiting for years to see these young people mature. He knew this would be an amazing pool of talent and a once-in-a-lifetime cast. When my wife and I attended the special Grammy recognition performance by the Wilton High School Jazz Group, we learned something that really proved what Chip's students thought of him. He was daunted by the massive application process, but it was the students he mentored who independently volunteered to support him with a very elaborate application process to make sure Chip Gawle was recognized as one of the greatest music teachers in America. I believe this says it all. Thank you, Chris. One of my California colleagues once said, "Years from now, our students may not remember much of the academic content we taught them, but they will remember 2 things about us. Were we passionate about our subject matter, and did we care deeply for them as human beings?" All of us who have had the pleasure and honor of knowing Chip Gawle can attest to the fact that he embodies those qualities. At his final Pops concert on June 1st, our talented Wilton High choral director, Betsy DeGroff, paid a wonderful tribute to Chip. She said, "He's a big man with a big voice and an even bigger heart." How true. I know I speak for so many grateful students, parents, colleagues, and community members when I say that you have left a mark on us all. Chip, congratulations on your retirement, on the Grammy success, and on your induction into the Wilton High School Hall of Fame. Please accept our heartfelt appreciation for your many gifts, for sharing your many gifts with us all these years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Richards. When people describe gather tonight in the world-class Performing Arts Center that proudly bears Dr. Clune's name. Just one of his great many legacies in the educational arena and in the town of Wilton. Just one of the great testaments to his heralded service as superintendent of the Wilton school system from 1982 to 2004. 1982, 34 years ago. The young Chip Gawle, accompanying his first year of teaching, got to know the new superintendent. They shared an alma mater, UConn, and Chip's philosophies on how music education can truly change lives. They just clicked, and they remain close to this very day. It was Dr. Clune who coached the young Chip Gawle into administration and then supported his return to the classroom, the band room, the football stands, a return for which subsequent generations of Wilton students are eternally grateful. I have the great honor of introducing the very man who inspires all of us here in the Performing Center that bears his name for such good reason. Please join me in welcoming Dr. David Clune.
So great to see so many of you here, the Gawle family, the supportive group, alums, parents, dignitaries from the town of Wilton. It's really a great pleasure for me to be here to honor Chip Gawle tonight. We all make sure that nothing ever goes to our head. We are at a fundraiser, my wife and I, a couple of months ago, and my wife was standing apart from me, and she overheard some woman saying, pointing at me, "Who is that guy over there? He used to be something, but I don't know what." I assure you, he'll never say that about Chip Gawle. Our family used to march in the homecoming parade. We were just in front of Chip Gawle, who was leading the band behind us. We have multiple pictures over the 22 years of Chip Gawle's back, because he used to have to march backward and conduct the band. So Chip, we always had your back, no question about it. In a weak moment, Chip said, "You know, if your daughter ever gets married, we have to play for her." I remembered that. We remembered that. So when our daughter got married last November, we said, "Hey, Chip, remember at one time you said you'd like to play for the wedding?" He said, "Sure, sure." I said, "Where is it?" I said, "It's only a 450-mile round trip." So Chip, Marty Mead, Mary Mazzuti, Patty joined us in November. Chip never forgets. He has everyone's back. We're happy to have the pleasure of working with him. So what a joy, Chip, to meld your passion, your love, and your calling all into one. Since 1981, the year before I arrived, when you arrived in Wilton, Chip has done just that, melded your love, your passion, and your calling. We've heard all about that tonight. We know Chip's accomplishments. We heard some of those accomplishments. The local, regional, national, international, intergalactic awards that he's been receiving. So painstakingly earned and so richly deserved. What a stellar track record. What an interstellar track record. I'll stop the Star Trek analogy now and move on. While his accomplishments are off the chart, it is Chip himself who is most appealing. Husband, father, son, colleague, advocate, supporter, critical friend. Chip was always willing to tell you what you needed to hear, not always what you wanted to hear. He wasn't afraid to say you have spots on your tie. That's a true friend. Why is he so successful? He commands respect, but he is not a command and control guy. He is more climate control, with heart and soul, always in pursuit of a worthy goal. What do I mean by that? How many of us could entice a couple of hundred kids to come in late August and march in the heat to the beat? The heat to the beat. It was great. I always knew that school was around the corner when I'd go down to the track and run around and Chip has done it year in and year out. He provides a safe environment. Have you ever gone and observed the safety procedures he put in place on some of the band outfits to make sure that they're protected from the outside as well as from themselves? He's engaging. He's energizing. Anything Chip does is meaningful. If Chip's involved, it's got to be good. So let's go there. Let's do that because Chip's involved. He has an eye and an ear for talent, and a knack for nurturing many talents. He's socially engaging. He's collaborative while promoting autonomy. Chip helps kids believe in themselves. He enjoys lighting the pathway of lifelong learning for others, so they can share his joy and his passion. What a generative experience. What an experience for all those who have had the privilege of having their lives touched by Chip Gawle in such positive ways. Chip is the real deal, but there is more. Try to say Chip Gawle without smiling. You can't. That's who he is. That's what he is. That's what he stands for. His engaging laugh, we've heard about that. His engaging laugh, no question about it. Just as he put his heart and soul into everything he does, he puts his heart and soul into laughter. His rib-crunching bear hugs, greetings. His irreverent, somewhat irreverent sense of humor. His endearing personality. Above all, a consummate professional. Day in and day out. Night after night, weekend after weekend, parade after parade, event after event. Chip was always at the top of his game. I've never seen him not at the top of his game. He was able to navigate the challenges of working with and serving multiple constituencies. And he did it with an uncommon common sense. Something that is truly lacking in the political campaigns that we observe this year. There's a consulting role for you someplace too. As a case in point, Chip provided the leadership in advocating for a unified voice for fine and performing arts staff. Hence, the creation of FAPA, Fine and Performing Arts, K through 12. The fundamental premise being that leadership is embedded in the fabric of the organization across all threads, especially those closest to students. And as we've heard, Chip tried a few things, a few opportunities, but he always wanted to provide that leadership where it counted the most, closest to the students. This provides a nurturing environment, FAPA, serving as an incubator for creativity and innovation. This magnificent facility is one manifestation of that advocacy. It wasn't a walk in the park, getting this facility. But Chip and others were successful in galvanizing those multiple constituencies into a broad cross-section of enthusiastic community support. Einstein said, logic can get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Logic is therefore a subset of imagination. So, my dear Chip, to paraphrase Thoreau, may you continue to lead the life you imagine. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams, weaving logic and imagination in the embracing web of the arts. It is with profound respect and deep admiration that I join each of you tonight in honoring the conductor of the Taj Mahal. May the spirit of Taj Mahal and Chip Gawle, live with us forever. Sorry, they have a new name.
How about Sam Gummins with an amazing MC, great friend. That black tie affair of those students. Sue Rashford on a wonderful photograph. Annie McDonald for organizing this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply moved, humbled, and honored by this incredible recognition. As I stand here tonight, I confess that I'm having a little trouble believing this reality, especially after hearing such eloquent accounts of what my career in Wilton meant to me. These last few months have been an emotional roller coaster, a steady whir that is now ending with a jolt, and I'm going to use one of Dr. Clune's analogies to Star Trek. Ending with a jolt as the warp drive, which has driven me these 35 years, often at warp factor 10, has been suddenly disengaged. The outpouring of gratitude through emails, cards, parties, and personal tributes has caused me to go through a lot of Kleenex, and has served as a giant pillow cushioning me from that jolt. It's been quite a ride, and there are many to thank. In the spring of 1981, the ride began like a rocket blasting off. I graduated from UConn on May 7th, got this job on May 30th, got married August 15th, and started band camp on August 22nd. The only problem was that the flight was not really aimed anywhere, because I in no way really was ready for this job. What I had to guide me was the passion for serving others and love of people and for teaching my mom Janet and my dad Frank gave to me. I had the unconditional love of my soulmate Patty. I had the love of playing music that my dear friends Ken and Bart Tedeschi bestowed upon me at UConn. They are here tonight. Which has lasted to this day. In 1981, I came to a solid program driven by a crystal clear vision that John Rhodes created, and that was that the marching band was central to a successful band program. I did not agree with that then. But it didn't take me very long to see how right he was. To help me at the beginning, since he was moving on for a time, he recruited the seniors to guide me, and that is exactly what they did. I was so fortunate to have been able to work with John for 30 years, and I owe much of my success to him. Since that first year, I believe that my career was rather like a snowball that rolled down a hill gathering strength and speed, and that strength and speed came from all of you. Along the way, a steady stream of wonderfully sweet, devoted, and eager students flowed through my life in that band room. They all made me a better teacher and a better person. The vast majority of these students came from terrific families with values that were consonant with my own. Work hard, be nice, be thankful for the opportunity you've been given, and make it count. That is the ethos of this great town, for which I am proud and honored to have had the pleasure of serving my entire career. I have always found that educators here are willing to go the extra mile for kids who are eager and appreciative, but these kids are not only that, but they are also so talented and genuinely sweet that there is nothing we will not do to help them. In fact, you know that great teachers love their students. We are like family, an extension of your family, and it can be something special when we're on the same page. Additionally, there's been a constant parade of incredibly supportive parents, recently led by the overall Music Booster presidents Doom Foster, Dottie Jankowski, and Lynn Driver. The Band Booster presidents go way back, when I first came here, to Carol Russell, Barbara Van Meter in the 1980s, Sue Matthews and Paula Hand in the 90s, and then Doris Baylor, Rita Garland, Doom Foster, and Ellen Willis. Every one of them treated this band like her own family, and each marshaled armies of parent volunteers to run the scores of extra events and special touches that define our traditions. Our current president, Anna McDonald, is no exception. She has been incredibly devoted to this program and to making my last year special. How can I adequately thank her for giving me a send-off that consisted of nothing less than a dinner, concert, and audience with Wynton Marsalis, a as well as my other colleagues, and a good many are here tonight to celebrate, are great educators that teach the whole child with love, with humor and passion for their craft that translates into a love of learning and real success for students that is measured by a phenomenon that tests can't grasp. That is the lasting effect on the soul and the character and the future of our students. I believe process is paramount. Educators that care about and teach people first and subject matter second always get great results. The scores take care of themselves because they love the kids and what they are doing, and the students respond to that. I believe this is the essence of a great school, and I have been blessed to work in one for all these years with all of these great teachers. You all made me a better teacher because I absorbed as much as I could from you, and I know you made me a better person for the same reason. From a practical perspective, I say that without your flexibility and support, we can't do a marching band either. We can't go on annual adjudication trips or put on worthwhile school concerts. I was blessed to work for and with incredibly inspirational educational leaders throughout the 4 decades. Don Holt, God rest his soul, hired me in 1981. He was the principal of my school at the time. Dave Clune saw in me a potential for leadership and then guided me to see the big picture as he inspired and supported my administrative career and then my return to my old job. While Dave did so much for this town at the helm of its schools, we were able to do some great things together for the arts. So it's indeed fitting and appropriate that we are gathered in the Clune Center for the Arts. Gary Richards took that baton from Dave and continued to inspire and guide us all through tumultuous waters, never losing sight of the importance of the student-centered approach or the importance of the arts. As a result of his passion and leadership, we continued with our instrumental improvement plan, and we were able to keep our little theater. Kevin Smith has taken the baton from Gary and already shown his student-centered passion. He has kept and supported the FAPA leadership and has graciously, along with the board, allowed me to continue in an advisory role to ease the transition, and I cannot tell you how important that was to me, and I also believe to the students. Bob O'Donnell and his team always keep the students at the core of their thinking and have worked tirelessly to support student happiness and success in every facet of student
Dr. Smith of Alma Richardson Clune for leading us tonight in saluting Chip Gawle. To Anna McDonald for putting together this celebration, this celebration, including the reception of the Zellner Gallery, to which you're all cordially invited. To the Black Tie Affair for providing musical accompaniment to this special evening. And finally, to the man I and so many others truly admire, truly cherish, Chip Gawle, for all that you've done for our kids, for our school, for our community. You've moved us. You've moved us beyond mere words, and we simply want to say thank you, and drum roll please.
What a way to go out.